YouTube family. So I want to introduce you to an amazing woman named Kelsey, who you are about to hear from in like a couple of seconds. So in 2018, Kelsey enrolled in our course, Your First Rental Property, and just last month, in March of 2021, she bought her first rental property. If you've ever had the thought like, gee, I would love to invest in rentals someday, but I'm not ready yet. I don't know what city or state I would invest in. I don't have money for a down payment. I'm really busy because I need to plan a wedding and I've got all this other life stuff going. Cool. Kelsey, that's her story too. The work that she did from 2018 to 2021 got her to the place where when she did buy that property in March 2021 in a hot seller's market, and by the way, she bought a property in Southern California, the work that she did during those 2.5, almost 3 years, got her to the point where she nailed it, and bought, you know what, I'm not even gonna tell her story for her. Here's Kelsey telling her story in her own words. Check her out, she's awesome.
This morning, I get a text message from my real estate agent saying, today is the actual day. Actually, so the notary came by yesterday and my wife and I signed all the documents. She went off to UPS, shipped it to the escrow agency, and I wired final funds to close. This happened yesterday. And then, so today we are closing.
What?
I'm super excited. It's just been such a long journey to get to here, to getting my very first property, my very first rental property, but my very first property. And here we are. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Wow. Well, congratulations on closing day.
Yes. It's been an emotional roller coaster. I've been here for all of it.
What I love about your story is that you joined the course in 2018. You're now closing today, March 11, 2021. And you've done so much work, in the last 2.5 years, so much research, so much thinking, developing a strategy, figuring out what you're doing. You thought you were going to invest in Pittsburgh, and now you're investing in Joshua Tree, California. It's take me through this journey, because I'm very impressed by how far you've come and how much you've done in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, this last 2.5 years has been just such an incredible journey of knowledge and just trying to cross that threshold from analysis into the doing phase.
Right.
And when people talk about how challenging it is to really to get over analysis paralysis, that is me. That is absolutely me, because I'm such a numbers person. I love to analyze every single aspect of, something new, right? I want to get my hands really into it and understand it from the inside out. And it all kind of started for me with your course when I signed up for Your First Rental Property. And I was like, well, I've listened to basically all of Paula's podcasts, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to take the next step. I want more information. I want to learn what you have to offer. And so I just, was such a good student. I really took to heart all the lessons. And then I got really into the concept of investing out of state. And my wife's whole family is from Pittsburgh. And I thought, Pittsburgh could be a good area to invest. I've not really been there very frequently. I've only been there maybe once, right? So I don't understand geography. And that's the very first thing that I want to understand when I'm going to a new location is the geography. Right. I'm a geography major from UCLA. This is just the nerd in me who I just want to know everything. So I mapped it all out. I was, researching all the different neighborhoods, the different streets, the topography, understanding, I want to understand why people are moving from one place to another, where the job centers are, where people are going to have fun, what the suburbs look like, trying to understand the demographics of an area. So I'm just really absorbing all this information. And meanwhile, I am also kind of thinking about multiple strategies for my investment. I'm thinking long-term, I'm thinking short-term. So in this time period, I started digging really into, well, researching every single Airbnb in Pittsburgh and trying to analyze them for occupancy and revenue. And then I'm also simultaneously analyzing what the long-term rental market is doing. And so, we got really into it, and eventually, we are boots on the ground. I start, driving for dollars, which is something I learned about in your course, where you literally go from house to house and you think, okay, so there are some delinquent maintenance issues with this house that make me think that perhaps the owner might be looking to sell or might be interested in selling. So then just like literally leaving a note or figuring out what the mailing address is and then sending that person a letter, say, I'm interested in buying your property. And so I sent out mailers to a large quantity of people, and I did not really get any sort of good feedback. Like, I think they say it's something like a 2% return of like for everything you send out. I had, just like not enough interest for me to go down that path. I spoke to a wholesaler in the area. I spoke to a couple real estate agents, and eventually, like, I just kind of, I kind of got cold feet on Pittsburgh and didn't go forward with that.
How were you driving for dollars from a distance? Because you live in California.
Good question. I was boots on the ground.
Got it. So you were visiting there, and
I was visiting there. This was, this was just kind of like we're going to go check out, I've done all the conceptual, like, let's go and actually check this place out.
Wow. Cool. So you did like tons of online research, and then you like workationed there. Like,
yeah, that was back in 2018.
Wow.
Okay, so like a lot of years have passed between now and that whole experience. And at some point I was just like, okay, my wife and I, Megan, we were about to get married, and like just all of my life energy went into planning a wedding, which takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And I just kind of got a little derailed with the whole real estate investment.
Yeah.
And back in 2018, I was also looking at other locations besides Pittsburgh. And Joshua Tree was one of those places. And I ended up kind of gravitating back towards Joshua Tree most recently, and decided that that's where I wanted to go. It's 2.5 hours away from where I live. It's my favorite national park.
Yeah.
And there's just so much opportunity out in the desert. It kind of feels like this, just like this place where people go to make their dreams come true. Like, that's kind of like the vibe that Joshua Tree has, where you have all these artists who are out there just creating and living off the land and homesteading. And you have over 3 million visitors coming per year to go visit the park. So I focused all my attention and effort on finding a property in Yucca Valley, Joshua Tree area. And that's been the last, maybe since the week of Thanksgiving. I went on vacation there with my dad, and we I didn't have intention of buying in Joshua Tree at that moment, but it was like during that vacation where I was like staying at an Airbnb, and I was like, Dad, I could do this. Like, I've been talking about this for so long. Why am I, let's just, come on, like, just pumping myself up to be like, now's the time. And then it just, last 4 months has been nonstop real estate for me. Like, I re-enlisted in your course to go through some of the course material again. I joined one of the mastermind groups that you had. So like during this whole process, I've been kind of like I started the mastermind groups while I was still in the searching phase. And then so they've gotten to see me go through the whole process of finding the place, and then making offers on lots of places, going into escrow on one place, falling out of escrow. It's been a lot. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Wow. And you found this place. This was an off-market deal.
This was an off-market deal. This is just the luck component. where I ended up getting a real estate agent who is a rock star. Like, this guy worked so hard on my behalf. I can't say anything but absolute positive things about my experience working with Sean. Like, he's an investor himself, so he just really understands the area. He grew up in the area. So
Right.
and like, he comes from a lineage of people who have been developers, real estate agents. So he understands real estate very, very well. I would be on the phone with Sean almost every day because there'd be properties popping up and then flying off the shelf within, 12 hours of being listed on the MLS. And they'd have 11 offers and they'd be going 80, 100K over offer consistently, all cash. Like, this is just the market that we are in. It's an absolute seller's market. It's really tough to compete. And that's a function of low inventory and, a large pool of wealth in Los Angeles and elsewhere. But I think predominantly Los Angeles, spending a lot of money out in Joshua Tree.
Right.
And you're just seeing these prices go up, up and up. And it's pretty competitive, right?
Right.
So working with Sean for like a few months, he started to really understand what I needed and like what I was looking for. And being the data nerd, like, I had a whole list of parameters. So like, I intuitively could look at any deal and understand, okay, is this location good? Is the house going to serve the model that I am trying to build? Like, what sort of cap rates and cash flow can I achieve? So those are all the questions that I'm looking at as every single property comes up on the MLS. I'm evaluating it. And I mean, gosh, we made so many offers together and we just kept getting outbid. Like, we finally got an offer accepted, and then that deal just ended up being more trouble than it was worth. Finally, Sean, he ends up getting this property and he's like, I know the exact investor for this. So he ended up taking me to, I think, like 5 off-market listings in one day. Like, what an awesome agent to take you to that many off-market listings. And then the last one he took me to was like, this is the one, like, that I thought of you. And he was completely right. Like, it's 6 minutes away from the entrance to Joshua Tree National Park. So the location is awesome. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, which means it can host groups of about 6 to 8, which is about the number that I'm looking to host. It feels incredibly private and serene and peaceful. It has tons of Joshua trees on the property, 2.5 acres. It's 1,700 square feet, built in 1964. And it has the possibility of further expansion because there's an unfinished garage that I can convert into an accessory dwelling unit, adding about 400 square feet to the overall square footage of the assessed area. And so that's just instant forced equity if you can do that, if you can permit that extra space.
Right.
Yeah. So like, I'm incredibly excited about this place. The woman who lived there, she took absolute impeccable care of the property. It's in really good condition. You can feel the love that she has lived in that home with. And it, it's just like, it's a really special place. Like, I feel good about it. You want to feel good about your investment, right? You want to go there and, there's a certain point where you look at all the numbers, but then you just have to go with your gut at the end of the day.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that going with your gut, like that, fundamentally, that's judgment. And the judgment comes from knowledge and experience. The story of the last 2.5 years, the way you've gone from newbie to like closing day, like you've developed so much knowledge and so much experience as an investor, like, someone who approaches real estate with the mindset of an investor.
I think that not rushing into it helped me in that way.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense to me, because then you have time to figure out exactly what you're doing. You've got time essentially to develop judgment. Tell me about how the course helped you through this journey. What did you learn from the course that kind of got you that impetus to start searching in Pittsburgh and driving for dollars and looking at off-market deals?
Yeah, I mean, the course is just so comprehensive that when you go through all of it and you really just try to learn it and take all the quizzes and like you're just really like engaging with the course material, you just level up your knowledge so much faster than you possibly could have if you were just doing this all on your own and trying to figure it out as you go and just kind of stumbling through every decision. There's just so many positive things I could say about my experience with taking the course and then retaking the course and then getting to engage with the forums and with people in the mastermind group. I don't know, such a wealth of information, Paula, that you put together. Like, I don't know how you synthesized all that. I know it was like a lot of work to do all of that. And it shows because it's all just so well done.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What were some of your favorite modules or lessons?
I think the cash flow lesson was like, that was really eye-opening for me. The lesson on cap rate. So these are the lessons when you first take the course. These are going to be like lessons 1, 2, and 3, where you just start learning how to think like an investor. And you start to learn about all the different formulas that are the tools that you get to use. And then you get introduced to the spreadsheets. And I mean, that's where like I live in Excel pretty much every day of my life. I love how you can just put in all this information and then it's going to tell you exactly like exact numbers of like, okay, these are going to be your cap, like this is your cap rate. If like you do the whole formula, you're going to figure out like, is this going to be a good investment or not? You know, I think that was probably one of the biggest eye-opening things for me was just like, you can quantify this information.
Right.
And this is how you do it.
Right. Awesome. Excellent. Were there any other modules like anything around?
Yeah. The renovation module was really great. So like right now I'm going through the whole process of, developing a scope of work for my general contractor to come in and, I'm going to have him update the floor plan. I need him to build me a hallway to fix some oddities with the flow. Like there is a bedroom that you can only get to through other bedrooms. So I'm going to construct a hallway and I'm going to remove some doors, add some doors. So to communicate all this information and to put together my contractor scope of work, which I mean, I spent several late nights. I spent maybe like 15 hours staying up till like midnight, just writing this document, going through every single little thing that I need him to do to bring this house to not just decent, safe, and sanitary, but to marketable, to be ready to rent. And, just going through the renovation module was so helpful because there's so many terms and just understanding how a house is built. And just like, okay, I could go to Google and look some of these things up, but sometimes you'll have a specific insight that, you might not find otherwise. So, I mean, like I just ordered 700 square feet of luxury vinyl plank yesterday. Right. Nice. So like it's that sort of thing where like I'm learning so much so quickly.
Oh, excellent. And tell me about some of the support that you received. You mentioned that you're in a mastermind group. You've been involved in the forums.
Office hours were huge, of just getting FaceTime with you and being able to ask questions as they come up. And I know that's been big for other people. And sometimes I'll go back and listen to office hour recordings because someone else will have a question that maybe I would have had. And so instead of having to ask it myself, I can just go listen to the recording and the information's all there. So that's support in a way that you wouldn't really be able to find anywhere else. Just being able to interact on the forums. And if someone has a question, there's a whole group of people who are just, ready to help, ready to answer these questions. And I think that really just shows what a strong community is being built with every single cohort that goes through the course. You're having more and more folks who are just becoming knowledgeable and helpful and giving back. And then there's the mastermind group that I've really enjoyed working with a group of maybe 5 or 6 of us who've been meeting regularly for the last 2 or 3 months or something. Nice. And once a week, we will sit down together over Zoom, and they're all over the country. So I have someone investing in Detroit, someone who's investing in the Tucson area, someone who's in San Antonio, someone who's in Rochester, New York, and then myself out here in California. And we get to really understand what's going on in different markets and helping each other out with questions that apply to all of us sometimes, or like super specific things that maybe just apply to one person. And it's been such a, fantastic way to bounce ideas off of each other, hold each other accountable. It's almost like an accountability meeting where you say this week, okay, next week I'm going to, go to this area and I'm going to go, see some properties. It's like, okay, well, the following week we want to hear about what that was like,
Right, exactly. What would you say to anybody who's thinking about enrolling, but is sort of on the fence about it?
Just do it. Just do it. Just enroll. Just sign up. If you have the means, if you've been interested in real estate, just do it. There's no time like the present. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Like this topic, like it could be taught in such a dry, boring way. Like it really can. Like it kind of reminds me of learning piano, right? Where like I spent the first maybe, 6 years of my piano education with Marjorie, God bless her soul, but she was like 85 and trying to teach me music that I didn't connect with. And it was like really challenging to like rehearse and practice for all these things. And I hated it. And, now like fast forward, I'm just like, okay, pick up a guitar and play like the things I want to play. Like it's just, it's such a different mindset when you're being taught in a way that actually connects with you.
Right.
Right. Like a total dinosaur could try to teach you about real estate and you might tune out. You might read a book that feels antiquated. Or you can take your class and look at cat GIFs and be like, okay, this is what I'm here for, right?
Exactly. It's like, it's got the intellectual rigor and it's got all of that, but it also makes it fun.
But it's fun too. Like it doesn't have to be boring, and it's not boring at all. It's awesome.
Thank you. Did you use any of like the various tools and resources? I know you mentioned the spreadsheet, like the checklists, the fill in the blank forms, the flow charts, like all of the different tools that were in there.
Yeah, I did use some of the checklists. Like there are some that were like how to interview a property manager or how to interview a real estate agent. And those were the kind of lists that were actually pretty helpful to me.
Yeah.
And that I ended up using and kind of retooling for my own needs because like, as you know, I'm looking at short-term rentals, which come with their whole other set of questions related to operations of running hospitality. So I need them to be a property manager who is going to, fix things like, oh, the water heater broke, or I need to send in a plumber to fix the sink. But then they also need to handle making sure that guests are happy and like this whole other set of considerations that you wouldn't have otherwise. But the lists that you created kind of helps with, asking property managers those sorts of questions, at least from the like long-term rental standpoint. So that was helpful.
And he found a great real estate agent.
Yeah. Total luck too. It was seriously total luck. The very first day that I met him, I didn't have a real estate agent yet. I'd found a property on the MLS that I was like, oh, I'm interested in this property. And he just happened to be the listing agent. of that property.
Nice.
So I went out to go see it, and very quickly, like, it was a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, but it was kind of a mess. I was like, this is just too much upfront capital that I would need to work on this place. So I was like, so would you show me like some other places? And so I sent him a list of 4 other houses that I just found on Redfin that I wanted to see. And he was like, he happily set up the appointments for me, and he took me from place to place. And that same day, we ended up making an offer together on a property. And so I think he knew I was a serious investor pretty quickly,
Right.
just going out there and making an offer, like, right
So
away,
soon.
like
Yeah.
so soon, like not just kind of dilly dallying and window shopping, but like, okay, we're serious. We're ready to buy. And then our relationship just kind of grew from there, because I was able to remotely do a lot of my investment, sight unseen, just making offers, just looking at the listing and being like, okay, this checks all my boxes. I ran all my formulas. I'm going to be able to achieve. So my threshold that I was looking for is like, I'm looking for a 10 cap in my mid case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And if it meets a 10 cap, then I'm going to make an offer on it. I would just keep running properties through all my analysis and making offers remotely, and kept getting outcompeted. So
Cool. Is there anything I should have asked or anything you want to emphasize?
I'm just excited. Yeah, I'm just excited to see what's going to happen here. Cause right, I'm about to go through the next probably 5 or 6 months of my life is going to be renovating this house, getting it ready to be listed on Airbnb. So, I mean, at some point you're going to get to see the before and after photos.
I can't wait for that. I'm so excited to see those. Like, yeah. Oh my goodness. And just the location sounds amazing. 2.5 acres with a bunch of Joshua trees on the property.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome. That's so awesome.